Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. My name is Iman Maghroori. I'm a master solution engineer here at Salesforce. And today I got a good one for you. Today we're going to talk about reports and dashboards. These are one of the most empowering things in Salesforce, and I really want to help you get a handle on it. But before I get into the nitty gritty, let me just say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being customers. Thanks for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about Salesforce. I appreciate your time. I respect your time. And I really want this to be a good use of your time. So speaking of our time together, what's it going to look like? I'm just going to explain reports. They're kind of they can be kind of a complicated topic. So I'm just going to try and break it down. And then we're just going to build a report or two together. And then I'm going to give you a demo environment you can log into that has a whole bunch of pre-built reports and dashboards. And you can still build reports there, and you don't have to worry about doing anything in your environment. And then at the bottom of the hour, we'll open it up to Q&A. Now, look, if you've never joined me before, let me just give you some tips for a good time. First and foremost, do not try to do what I'm doing as I'm doing it. I'm not going to wait for you. I'm going to go way too fast. That's not the kind of webinar this is. So if anything, sit back, relax, take your hand off the mouse, and prepare to drink from the fire hose. But do not try to click along with me, okay? Anytime you got questions, open up the Go to Webinar sidebar somewhere floating on the screen. I got to know where it is at some point, but somewhere on your screen, there's a sidebar, a little Go to Webinar sidebar. Open it up, find the questions section, and then type your question in there. Softballs preferred. And also, you'll see a handout section. You can just download this presentation from there right now, or do nothing. Wait until tomorrow morning, and you will get a link, an email with a link to the recording and the handout automatically sent to you. All we ask, though, is at the end of this, just take a minute and fill out a survey. Let me know if this was helpful. Let me know if we answered your questions. We put these sessions together to help you, for all of you, and your surveys are how we know if we're staying on the narrow path. And last, but definitely not least, I got to sit through this webinar. So can we try to have a good time? All right. So reports and dashboards, what are they? How do they work? How can I make my own? The first thing I want to say is you should build your own reports and dashboards. That's actually a big value prop of Salesforce. Sure, you have an executive that will refuse to do it. Sure, you have a manager that just won't do it. Fine, that's more of a people problem than anything else. But you should strive to empower all of your users to build their own reports. It's really nice that if a sales leader needs to know something, they can pop in, do it themselves, and be done with it, not ask you or wait for you to do it for them and then ask you to change it. These are not that complicated. And assuming they can understand the basic moving parts, I feel strongly that all of them should be able to feel comfortable making their own reports. And if you can push for that, that is something worth doing because it's empowering and it just frees everybody up. They get answers faster and you don't have to agonize trying to read their mind about what they want. Now, when you think about dashboards, okay, dashboards are basically a whole bunch of reports in one place. So each of those little charts is a different report. Now you can have the same report shown in multiple different ways. Maybe one's just a pie chart, one's a bar chart, but the idea here is each dashboard component is pulling data from a report. All the logic, all the complexity, all the what's going to show up, not show up, all of that is in the report. So we're pretty much going to focus on reports today, but then you just drag and drop reports into a dashboard and they look good. So if you're trying to change the way something looks based on what's in the actual component itself, that's in the report. And so if you're trying to make a dashboard, it's really just build a report, create an empty dashboard, and then more or less drag and drop, put up to 20 reports into that dashboard, and then high five. But that's really what you're looking at for a dashboard. Dashboards aren't their own really separate thing. They're actually really, really easy. It's the reports that you need to master. And you can report on anything, really, for the most part. You can report on pretty much any record. If you can see the record, you can report on it. Okay, so standard objects, standard fields, custom objects, custom fields, data that comes from other systems that sync to Salesforce, but really sales, service, app exchange apps. If it's a record in Salesforce and you can see it, chances are you can report on it. Okay, now reports do respect the security model. So if I create a report, I'm the admin. Okay, I create a report and I call it all leads, and then I let a rep see that report. They're not going to get to see all the leads in Salesforce. They will still be limited to all the leads they can see. Okay, so you don't have to worry about security permissions being somehow overridden with reports. So if I run a report, I'm still limited to the records I'm allowed to see, even if the report says, show me everything, okay? And look, we're going to show you how to build your own reports and dashboards today. That's the whole point. But, why not get a head start? So these are some links that you should look at because there's just a pack of dashboards and reports that you can just install into your environment and you're good to go. Now, look, there's a lead management dashboard and a sales activity dashboard and a sales history dashboard. Those are not going to be perfect for your business because each of you are unique, but they're really good starting templates. They've got a bunch of components in there, a bunch of reports. You can see how they work, and then maybe you just adjust the filter or adjust the date range or just something, but you don't have to build them all from scratch. And you can install these in your sandbox if you want, but this is going to save you a lot of time and give you a lot of good ideas. That dashboard pack, I think, literally comes with like 20 dashboards each with a bunch of reports. That clean your room one, I really like. Basically, it's a bunch of reports that point out kind of bad behavior. Show me all the deals that are closing this month where there are no activities in the last 2 weeks, where the next steps have been updated, things like that. So that's a good little way to keep people paying attention to operational just consistency by using Salesforce. So one other thing I want to demystify here is list views are not reports. I get a lot of questions from customers where I can't get the report to do something. And then I find out they're not even talking about reports. So reports really are only in the reports tab. So if you want to know if you're looking at a list view or not, what tab are you in? Is it the opportunities tab or the leads tab or the accounts tab? Because if it doesn't say reports, we're not talking about a report. We're talking about a list view. Now, list views are really powerful. I really like them. You should use list views. You should create custom list views, but they're not reports. With list views, you can take mass action on records. You can edit records in line. You can save that list view as its own tab. There's a lot you can do. And you can have a little chart there too. It's nice, but it's not a report. Okay, no groupings, no summaries. You can't put it in a dashboard. So we're here to talk about reports today, right? So with reports, these can be put on dashboards. You can have charts embedded on them, and you can put those charts on records. So you can build like a pipeline report, and then you can put that on an account and just see that account's pipeline as a nice little graph. Really nice, very little effort. I'm going to show you that. And they can report on many, many thousands of records. I think it's something like 20,000 records, and they can report on multiple objects. So a report can bring data from, let's say, the account and the opportunity and the products all together. But a list view just shows that one object, okay? You can also export reports to Excel. So if you want to get data out and do something with it somewhere else, a report's a nice way to do that. You can subscribe to reports and dashboards so that every Tuesday, every first of the month, you get an email with the updated data. You can do groupings in reports. So take all this data and group it by rep, by sales stage, by industry, I mean, you can get crazy with it, but a lot of groupings there. And again, these do respect the security. All right, so let's just jump into it. So every report has three things: the report type, the filters, and the layout. The report type is the single most important thing, because if you don't pick the right report type, your entire report's pretty much doomed. So the report type is, what records am I reporting on? Salesforce has a bunch of tables, and a bunch of these tables have different links to other tables. So this is you picking the right set of tables you want in this report. Okay, there's a bunch of standard report types that we build for you. You can even build your own custom report types if you don't see one you like. But let's say, for example, you want to report on opportunities and your pipeline by product. That's okay, but where does that data live? You really need to think about where are the records that I'm trying to pull from. In this case, if you're trying to sell, how much did I sell of this product by region this month, right? Where do you get that? Well, the region, that's probably coming from the account. This month, did I close it this month, last month, next year, this year? That's the opportunities close date. Did it close? That's the sales stage. How much did I close? That's the total opportunity amount. But then if you want the product name and the product amount, well, you got to get those from the related products, right? So you really got to think about, am I trying to say how much did I close by region? Well, that's accounts and opportunities. How much did I close by region, by product? Well, you got to get the product amount. So this really is the hard part, is keeping track of which fields from which objects am I reporting on. If you can think about what this is, you're halfway there. You're more than halfway there. Then it's about filters. All right, so I know what I'm reporting on. I picked the right report type, but it's just going to give you every record, and you probably don't want every record. You want the ones that close this month, or the ones for this product, or the ones in this region. And that's all about filters. That's all it is. So you would get back every record you can see, and then you filter it down. And there's a bunch of standard criteria that Salesforce creates for you automatically based on what report type you pick. So if you pick a opportunity report, it's going to give you opportunity filters. If you pick a account report, you're going to get account filters. And you can do really nice things with the date ranges. You don't just have to put the 1st of September and the end of September as actual calendar dates. You can make a report type that says this quarter, this month, last 90 days, next 30 days, last 14 days. And every time you run the report, it's going to move through time with you. So think of the deals closing this month report. Create it once, create the filter for this month, and then when you open it up next month, it's still showing you things in this month, right? So you don't have to always set dates specifically. You can use relative dates. And so here's a set of filters. Just take a look at it, right? Show me my opportunities, not all opportunities. These are the opportunities I own. Closing this month, and I took the screenshot a while ago. And all territories that are open, I want to see open deals because they're not closed yet. And there you go, that's my filter, right? So this is just a way to read about it. And so these little smart filters, these are the ones you're going to use a lot. Are these my opportunities or all opportunities? So as an admin, you can create a report that says, show me my opportunities. And you can give that link to every rep, and when every rep runs it, they're going to see their opportunities. Or you could put it on a dashboard, and when everyone looks at the dashboard, they're going to see their opportunities. So it's just a nice way to give everyone their own slice of a report without having to literally create 52 different ones because you have 52 different reps. And then, all right, so you can just keep adding more filters. Just keep adding more filters. Fill out the little box at the top, figure out what field you want, fill it out. And you can even add logic to your filters. So all of these are ands by default, and this, and that, and the other thing. Or you could do some and or logic. You can get fancy pants with it, okay? And get me all the deals that are new business, or they're less than $1 million, or they're greater than 30 days, right? So I want new business deals that are either smaller than $1 million or older than a month, right? So it's, this is just an example, but this is how you would do it. There's also something called cross filters. These are really powerful. These let you say something like, get me all the opportunities where, and then you can start looking at child records. So in this case, I'm saying, get me all the opportunities that do not have contact roles where there's an executive sponsor. Get me all the deals where we don't have an executive sponsor. Get me all the accounts that have this product. Get me all the contacts that are not in this campaign, right? So if you want to filter based off related records, this is a great way to do it, right? Find me all the accounts without an active contract. Find me all the accounts with an active contract. This is what you're going to use, cross filters. Otherwise, regular filters just look at that record itself. They just look at the account and they just look at the opportunity. Cross filters are what look at records below them, okay? And now you've got the right records. You know what objects you're reporting on. You know which records you're reporting on. Now it's about making the report look good. And it's really all about taking fields from the left. Those are your columns, so dragging and dropping them into your report, grouping the report, and you kind of see all your columns there in the middle. And at the bottom, that's where you've got your settings. So do I want to see subtotals or not? Do I want to see a grand total or not? Do I want to see each row or not? So on, off little options. And then at the top, you can save the report, run the report, save as a copy, those kinds of things. But this is really where you play with and build the report. You should know that if you group by fields, you can summarize things. So if you group by opportunity owner, you can pick a field you want, like the amount field, click the little arrow on it, and you can sum the amount, or average, or max, or min. So that's really nice. And if you want to group by dates, by default, Salesforce groups every day separately. So if you want to group by, account, group by rep by close date, for example, you can do that. And then you can pick that close date field, and you can change how the dates are grouped, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or annually. So if you want to see dates differently, super easy. You just got to know where to look. Also, you can create something called bucket fields. So maybe you've got deals that are small, medium, large deals, but you don't have a field in Salesforce to represent that. So you can create a bucket field, and if, let's say, the amount is less than 10,000, you'll assign the value small to it. And if it's between 10 and 50,000, you'll call it medium, and these are just text. You can just type whatever you want. And then let's say everything over 50,000, large. And that'll now be a field that you can group by. So you can dynamically make deals or make groupings for small, medium, large deals, or West Coast, East Coast, or whatever you want. But these are nice little ways to make changes without having the admin go in and create fields that'll persist forever. And also, if you do summarize a report and you do summarize an amount, you can do conditional highlighting. So you can pick, same thing, criteria, pick a color, and then it'll highlight some color. So green, yellow, red, most likely. And there's a little button that'll show up on the bottom right there called Conditional Formatting. You click that, you can pick the highlight colors. Also, you can do summary formulas. So if you're grouping by month, you can have formulas that say compare this month's summary to last month's summary. So how much did we do this month versus last month? 10% more, 10% less. Or what was our close rate? So if you want to do math on a lot of these summaries, you're probably looking at something called a summary formula. Also, you can add charts to reports, and that's really just easy. It looks at whatever groupings you've put in the report, looks at whatever fields you summarize in the report, and then lets you just add charts to it. So you're not really configuring the report when you add a chart. The chart pretty much mirrors whatever the report is reporting on, and you can kind of configure the chart to look differently. But again, all the logic, all the groupings, all the filters, everything is at the report level. All right, so when you build a report, you might have some problems. So let me just tell you what's most likely. If you don't even see the right object or fields at all, that's probably your report type. If you have the right objects and fields, but you don't see the right records, it's most likely your filter. It's got to be your filter, otherwise you'd see everything. So check your filters, make sure your filters are right, and then just check to see if you can even see the record itself anyways, because if you can't see the record, you can't report on the record. So if you can see the record, and you've got the right fields and the right objects in your report type, triple, quadruple, quintuple check your criteria, because that's your problem. And then, you've got the right object, you've got the right records, but the numbers are looking wrong. You got to make sure you're looking at the right amount field. So you might have the opportunity amount field or the product amount field or something like that. So just make sure you're using the right amount field, for example. So that's a lot of times you might have fields that have the same name, type. You might have an account type, opportunity type, product type, and you might be picking the wrong type field. So you just got to double check. Those are most likely 80% of your reporting problems right there. And also, just a word to the wise, don't try to build a super report. When a lot of people come to Salesforce, they used to use Excel, and Excel has no limitations. There's no logical anything going on. You can put the color blue next to the number, dollar amount, next to a close date, next to your pet's names. There's no logic or anything tying it together. It's just whatever you put in there. And then they try to get that into Salesforce. It's kind of be hard to do because Salesforce is restricted to actual kind of logical relationships between records. So if you can't get everything you want in one report, that's okay. Make a good report and then bring everything together in a dashboard. Use dashboards to kind of be your super view into everything. But don't try to make one report that's deals closing this month and last activities and how many activities and what products and what contracts. You're going to have a bad time. So break them up, put them in a dashboard. Also, you should know you can export reports really easy. There's just an export button. Once you save the report, you can export it. This is an advanced topic, but there's something called joined reports. Most of you will not need this. Most of you probably shouldn't even try this. They're not even really that helpful, but if you need them, then you need them. The idea here is that you can add another block. So you might have one report type of like accounts and contacts, and then you might want to add another report type of, let's say, opportunities and contacts and see them together at the same time. And that's what joined reports do. They'll have two different sets of columns 2 different sets of filter criteria, each for each block in your report. And then they can find the fields that are common between them and let you group by that and try to line them up. So if you have any common fields between the 2 report types, that's really what you're looking for. And last but definitely not least, when you create a report and you put a chart on it, you can drag and drop that report chart onto a record. And it can filter down to just be that record's view of the report. But to do that, you need to make sure you pick a report type that matches the object you're looking at. So if you want to put a report chart on accounts, pick a report that's report type starts with accounts. Okay, and that's how you're going to get the experience you want. Also, you can subscribe to reports and dashboards. You should just know there's a subscribe button, and every week, every month, every day, you can, whatever you want to run it, you can run it and have it sent to you, and you can send it to other people. So if you have a team dashboard or a regional dashboard, every month on the second Wednesday before we have our team meeting, send this email to me and everyone in the team. What I like about that is you do it before the team meeting, and now when you have the team meeting, you don't just talk about what the numbers are, you talk about what to do about the numbers. Everyone should have them. Also, dashboards can be themed. It's a simple setting, but each dashboard can have its own theme. So if your rep wants a purple one or a blue one or a green one, let them edit their own dashboard, pick their own color, and they're good to go. And you can put reports and dashboards into folders. You can have folders and subfolders. And security is driven by the folder and the topmost folder. So if you want to let people see reports in a folder, but not edit reports in a folder, you can give them those permissions. And then they can see the reports, but not edit or create reports in that folder. And reports and dashboards are great, and they're powerful, but some of you need to take it a step above, and you might need our analytics toolkit. We have an analytics product. It's an add-on cost. I don't think most of you need it, but if you find standard reports and dashboards lacking for some reason, and you're a big data person, you should know we have an analytics tool, and I'll show you that too. All right, so I'm just gonna build a report, and we're gonna figure this out together. So I'm in my Salesforce environment. I'm going to go to my reports tab, and I'm going to create a new report. And everyone likes a pipeline report. So I'm going to do opportunity reports. I'm going to do opportunities. And notice I could do opportunities with products and schedules, right? So you can really break it down kind of any way you want. Let's do opportunities with products. Great. So I've got my report type. Now I'm going to clear out all of my columns. We're just going to start super basic, clearing out all the columns. Okay. So now my report has basically nothing in it. Let's start with the filters. Show me all opportunities, or what? Or show me my opportunities, my team's opportunities, the opportunities that people on my team are added to the opportunity team for the opportunity. So lots of ways to filter down whose opportunities, but I'm going to say all opportunities. So get me all opportunities. Where and these are the date fields on the opportunities. So where the close date or the last activity date or the created date or maybe the product date, right? Which date am I talking about? Find me the right, or even account dates, for example. So all the dates that are around you can find, but find me the opportunities where the close date is this year, last year, 2 years ago, this quarter, last quarter. So you can really get in there and say, get me all the deals that are closing current and next month. There we go. And now this report chart knows this is an opportunity, or this report type knows it's on opportunities. So it picked the territory field and the opportunity status field and the probability fields for me. So based on what report type you pick, there are going to be some standard criteria that can just be added. Because most people want, for example, to report on open or closed won deals, right? In this case, I just want my pipeline, so only open deals. Great. That's it. So now I've got the filters I want. Now let's start building out this report. So I could just come in here and say, get me the name of the opportunity. And maybe get me the account name of the opportunity, right? Now I could just keep doing it this way, but if you have no idea what's in here, you can open up this little drawer on the left, and you can drag and drop, what type of opportunity. You can drag and drop it into the report, okay? But if you know what fields you're looking for, this doesn't really add any functionality you don't normally have. It's just kind of a way to search for stuff if you don't know what you have. And then you can just move them around. Right? And let's say opportunity owner. So I'm going to do owner. All right, so here I've got a report For my opportunity owner, the account, let's do amount. Everyone likes amount. And let's do stage. Everyone likes stage. Stage. Okay. So now that's your report. It's a pretty basic report, kind of looks like an Excel spreadsheet, but it's a report. Now, a lot of times you're going to want to do groupings. You could just type fields into here if you know what you want to group by, or you can drag and drop them from down here. So let's group by opportunity owner. So group it for me by rep, and then group it for me by stage. So I'm going to see by rep, by stage, how many deals. Iman has 3 deals in discovery, 2 deals in proposal. And right now, this is kind of like a working version of the report. So it's not going to give you the full set of records. It's kind of like a quick filter of records. So this isn't the whole thing. When I hit run, all the records will really show up then. All right, but now I've got by rep, by stage. I'm probably going to want to see a total of the opportunity amount. So I'm going to click on this little arrow here, and I'm going to summarize this field. Okay, so you can do that. You can even bucket. You can make a bucket off this field. So I can click bucket this column and say, you know, deal size. And if it's less than 10,000, let's just say 100,000, I'm going to call it small, and everything else is big. Right? So now I've even created a bucket field off of these deals. So for each deal, I can see if it's small or if I have a large one or big. Okay, that's really easy. And now that I have a summary field, I can do conditional formatting. So I can come in here and add rules. And again, just pick a number. I don't know, 100,000. Let's say 50,000. I don't know what I got here, 50,000. And everything over 50,000. You know, you can pick your colors. So let's say red and let's say green. And hit done. And you'll even get your coloring on here, right? So that's nice. So this is how you create a report. For every object, for every report, it's all about picking the report type, setting your filters, picking your columns, doing your groupings, and if you want, adding conditional highlights or even bucket fields. You can, if you click on this little arrow down here, this is where you can add row level formulas or summary formula. So summary formula is a formula that only looks at these summary values and does something with that. A row level formula is like creating a formula field, but it's on each record. So you can, you know, run some logic on each row of the report and just build a little formula field there as well. Okay. So now I'm going to add a chart here. I'm going to add a chart, and I'm going to say, what chart do I want? So I have the chart here, and I've got a little gear. So you can, this is where you filter the chart, change the chart around. So I'm going to say, get me a chart and break it down as a column chart. Okay. And in this case, I want to see it stacked. So I want to see y-axis is the, x-axis is the opportunity owner. Y-axis is the sum of the amount, not the number of records, but the total of those records. And I want to stack by sales stage. That seems right to me. So now I'm seeing a chart for each person, and then each person broken down by stage. Okay, and that's it. And I'm gonna run this report. There you go. So here's Iman and Iman's deals by stage. Here's Eli and Eli's deals by stage. And you can click on a name or click on a little slice and it'll filter down and filter it down to just those records real fast. So if you just want to see Iman's discovery deals, there you go. And it's like a quick filter. You want to see all of them again, you can open it back up. So it's a nice way to just see everything you want. Okay, so I've got this report. I can check the filters and edit them if I want. I can refresh this report and run it again in real time. But let's save this report. I'm going to call it Doing It Live Opportunities. And you can save it in whatever folder you want, but if you save it in the private folder, no one's going to see it. So save it in a folder that people can access depending on who you want to let see the report. Hit save, and now you got a report. And in the last minute here, I'm going to put it in a dashboard. So you just create a new dashboard if you like, give it a name, put it in another folder depending on who should be able to see it, save, and then now you've got this scratch pad, and you can one by one add charts to it. So I'm going to add the Doing It Live chart, and I could just say use whatever I had in the report. Don't even ask me, just use whatever I had in the report. Or you can use exactly what you had in the report, but redraw it just for the dashboard. So I'm going to add it here as a pipeline. Just I want to see the pipeline in general. And you know, let me change the settings here. I'm going to change the settings to color by sales stage. But it's getting all of this information. What groupings could I use? What are the numbers? All of this is coming from the report itself. So notice I now added the same chart twice to the same dashboard, but we're viewing it differently, right? Same info. I'm going to expand this out, and I'm going to expand this one out. Okay, so you can resize them, make them bigger, make them smaller, save your dashboards, and ultimately when you're done, you can subscribe to a dashboard or a report, have it run whenever you like. And if you did want to, you could edit the dashboard and even change the coloring. So maybe I'm going to make it bluegrass. I'm feeling very bluegrassy, let's say. And you should notice, was it already blue? Oh, and you can change colors. And the last bit here, if you go to a record, you go onto a record itself, and I know I'm running a minute late, I apologize. You can edit the page layout, and you can take a report and drag and drop that report chart onto a record. So there's something here called a report chart, and you can drag that pretty much wherever you want, and then you can give it the name of the report. So here I'm going to call it, I think it's doing it live, something like that. Doing it live. And because I'm using the right opportunity type, I can filter this report for only this deal. In this case, you're just saying one deal because it's this deal, but there you go. You can give it a name, you know, how is this deal being focused? Right, there you go. And you hit save. So you can put that on accounts, you can put that on opportunities. It's a really nice way to do it. So you all will have access to my demo environment where I preload a bunch of records for you. I've got a bunch of dashboards you can just check out, you know, like an example sales dashboard if you want to see some examples of kinds of components you can create. And then you can click into the report and see exactly how I built the report so you can all more or less do the same things. I've got many different dashboards for you to take a look at. Also, I have a working version of the Sales Analytics app. So if you did want to see what Sales Analytics is like, you can just take a look. My favorite one here is the trending dashboard. So this does something you can't do in reports and dashboards. So what this does is it says my pipeline last quarter started at 1.1 million. We had this many new deals, this many deals opened up, this many deals got pulled into the quarter, and then this many deals got pushed out, deals got smaller by a little bit. We close sales, so your pipeline just goes away when we close deals, and then this is where we're left at. So feel free to just play around with the different dashboards in the analytics page if you're interested to see what that app can do and what that looks like. Okay. You can sign up for that demo environment here. Here's another link to it, but salesforce.com/EDO for everybody's demo org. Sign in, data's ready to go, reports and dashboards, report charts on records are there for you. Just to give you an idea here, if you go to like an account record and pick an account, I think I did something slick. You know, you can go to your opportunities and then you can see the pipeline on that account. Or you can go to, let's say, their service tickets and you can see their support cases by status on that account. Really easy, really nice way to make Salesforce just look a lot better. All right. This is the template, the list of templates that you can install. Here are some trails that'll help you learn more and get more comfortable with reports and dashboards. I mean, this is just the starting of your report and dashboard journey. These will go slower and go in more detail, so you know that'll be nice. If you need someone to help you in general with anything, Wiser Spread is offering you all 2 hours of free consulting just for saying Iman sent me. So let them know I sent you. You get 2 hours of free consulting. And I'm going to stop, what, 3 minutes late? 3 minutes late. I really thought I timed it well, too. All right, 3 minutes late. So 3 minutes late. Crystal, are there any questions? There couldn't possibly be any questions on such a straightforward, simple topic. Could there be?
So many, so very many.
All right, throw them at me. What do we got?
All right, we're gonna have to go quick. Okay, first up is Chris. So he's saying he's wondering if there are any options to have a report on records that have the same value as the current record. So for example, if I'm on a contact record and they have a value in the custom emergency contact email field, can this be reported on specifically and tell me while I'm on that record if the emergency contact email is on another record in that default contact object email field? Does that make sense? I think he's trying to look to see if the same value is on the current record and report on that.
So there are ways that when you run a report, let me show you. If I run a report, there are ways to do links with your report and pass in URL parameters that filter reports. But I don't like recommending that because it's a kind of hacky approach to doing this. Specifically what you're trying to do, I'd probably just do it with a flow. I'd probably just create a flow, put the flow right on the page, and have the flow say, what record am I on? I'm on Natalie's record, okay? What is her, whatever that field was, emergency contact. Who's that? Oh, it's this email address. And then have the flow look for everybody else and just put the answer right there, or put a number there, or put links to the other records there. That's probably the way I would approach it. But yeah, let me know if that doesn't do the trick and we can do another idea. What else we got?
All right, okay. Next up is Cal. Is there a way to get just one record returned for each contact? Ideally the max or last instead of seeing all the records for each contact.
No. So when you create a report, and you say like, get me the last opportunity on an account, it can't do that. It doesn't know what you can do is get all of the activities in the last week or the last month, but it's not going to go through all of them and then only bring back the last one. It just doesn't do that. If that's important, I don't mean to keep going to flows, but flows are a good answer, or an automation rule is a good answer. Because what you could do is say, let's say I only want to see the last activity on this opportunity, for example. Then anytime an activity is logged, there you could have a couple fields on here called last activity date, last activity type, last activity subject, whatever. And so then you just run a report on those fields. And anytime the last activity happens, an automation rule updates that field. But no, reports are not going to be good at bring me the first one, bring me the last one. They can't really do that for you. No.
All right, so it makes sense. Okay, Cal's also asking, can I govern the legend order?
The legend order. Trying to think about what you mean there. So let's go look at it.
The legend of the chart, perhaps?
Yeah, of course, but like order, the legend order. So when you have your chart and you're looking at editing your chart, I'll show you how this works. When you go to edit your chart, the button's right here. So essentially, you can decide whether or not there is a legend, or if you show the legend. Let me go to a donut chart, for example. But what shows up in the legend is just your groupings that you picked for your field. So let me make this filter even wider so that I just get everything. Okay, sure. And then I'm going to get rid of the opportunity owner piece here. I'm just going to remove this. All right, so notice now, see the legend? The legend is going by the groupings that I have. But I'm not sure you can change the order of the legend. I don't think that's something you can really do. Analytics would let you do it, but that's so much effort for something so small.
All right, sounds good. One more here from Cal. Can I create a dashboard that has a set of reports and make it variable so I do not have to create it over and over again for different segments, cohorts, things like that?
Yeah, very good question. So let's say you've got your dashboard, and this is a great dashboard. Well, one, if you could just have the dashboard have my cases, my opportunities, my type, and when anyone runs it and refreshes it, they're viewing it kind of as themselves, right? And they'll see their numbers, so they can clone it and make their own. Or you can add a filter to a dashboard. And essentially, if there is a field that they all have in common, and I'm just gonna pick anything here, create, sure. So if there's a field they all have in common, you can create this filter. And now, when anyone looks at that report, when anyone looks at that one dashboard, they can apply the filters to it. So if you want to do it by product, and forgive me, I don't have good data, I shouldn't have actually filtered. But the idea here would be, if you want to create one dashboard and then have it filter by product, by region. We do this with our webinar series. We do it by segment. So we have one dashboard for our webinars, and then we have a filter for show me everyone in small business, mid-market, commercial, enterprise, and we can just filter. And we also have one for all time, this year, last year, this quarter, last quarter. So we create one dashboard and then use dashboard filters to quickly slice down pretty much all of the components to be relevant. So that's how you can do that.
Nice. All right. Another one from Cal. Can you tell us a little bit about combining objects for running reports? So sometimes he selects two different objects, and then when he runs the report, he doesn't get any data, no results. You talk a little bit about how to, about how to avoid that.
Are we talking about, can you ask, so Cal, are you talking about joined reports? I'm not sure what you mean by combined objects. So if you could tell us if you mean joined reports or what you specifically mean, I'll tackle it. But Crystal, can we take a question from someone other than Cal real quick as well?
Yeah, okay, sure. Okay, this one's from Anne. Is there a setting to have new fields automatically added to the custom report types?
Ooh. No, I don't believe it's a setting. From my understanding, new fields do just show up unless you've edited the custom report type to limit the field. So what are we talking about? So if you were to create your own report type, so let's say you're going to create your own custom report type. What's nice about this is that you can control the relationships of records you're going to pull in. So I'm going to create one and let's just call it doing it live. All right, and I'm going to put this over here. So really what it does is it lets you pick your source object. So I'm going to start with accounts, for example. Okay. And then I'm going to get accounts that have what? Let's say accounts and opportunities. Okay. And then I'm going to go from accounts to opportunities to orders on those opportunities. So I'm going to go from accounts to opportunities to orders to invoices on those orders. All right. And what you can do is say, get me all the accounts. But each account that I return has to have an opportunity, or they may or may not have opportunities. Bring me back all the accounts, whether or not they have opportunities. So it kind of shows you here what you're reporting on. And then once you create this grouping of objects, you can actually go in and notice I got 176 fields on accounts. You may not want your people to see all of those fields on accounts. So you can pick the fields that you don't care about. Let me just do this here. Command. There should be a way to get many of them. Anyways, so you drag them off the page. You can drag and drop these off the page, and now you're removing all the fields you don't care about, more or less. And so when people go to run the report, they're only going to see the fields you care about. So if you have 2 or 3 different amount fields, or if you have 2 or 3 different addresses, you can remove the ones that are just going to cause clutter, or they're never going to use, or are going to cause confusion. And that's just a nice way to do that. So you can remove those fields or add them to the report chart. Now, I'm not aware of any setting that automatically adds them or keeps them from being added, though no, I'm not aware of it. I think you're just going to update them.
All right. Okay, Megan is asking, can you change if a report is visible to others or personnel after you create the report?
Sure, but it's about what folder you save it in. So here I've got my reporting folders, and here I've got, let's say, my sales reps folder. So in this folder, I can share this folder with users or groups or roles or however you want to share it. But you can share it with groups of users. So you can create a group of users that's everyone in the West team or everyone that's a sales rep. And then once you give people that access, you can say, can they see this? Can they edit what's in here? Or are they a manager? Can they delete stuff, do stuff? So what I would say is if you saved a folder, let's say in your private reports, well, no one can see this. It's in your private folder. So what I would do is I would open it up and I would then say, all right, I'm going to take this report that's private and I'm going to save it as a report in some other folder they can see. So I'll pick a folder they can see and now they'll be able to see it. So either save the folder in a different report or give people permissions to see the folder the report's already in. But all of you have a private folder and you can't share, no one can see reports in your private folder ever. So if you need someone else to see it, do not save it in your private folder. That's included in dashboards too. If you want to build a bunch of reports and put them in a dashboard, even though people can see the dashboard, they can't see the report, it's going to be a bad time. So have folders, use folders.
All right. Megan's also asking, are there any templates related to response times for service cases? She says, we're trying to understand how long cases have been open based on priorities and types of cases in real time.
Yeah, App Exchange. So go to the App Exchange, and that dashboard pack, I believe, has Service Cloud reports. But yes, let me just search case dashboard. Let's just see what we got. But yeah, that's a common thing to report on. Service and support dashboards. Here we go. Let's see what we got. There are many different apps to here. Service and support dashboards. And sometimes these dashboard templates haven't been updated in a while. But current workload, average case handling time, and you can see the screenshot's old, but the reports still work, right? Volume of open cases. So yeah, I would start with something here. Start there. But yes, I expect there to be examples of that in the App Exchange.
All right. Ransom was asking if you could talk a little bit about how to use the power of one.
I don't feel comfortable enough with that concept to explain it on here, unfortunately. There's someone in the community figured out a way where you can kind of use formulas and numbers and report with that, but like I didn't pay attention to it. I don't really know what it is. I can always follow up with you after the fact, but right now off the top of my head, I don't know it well enough to tell you. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. Okay, Yaneva is asking, how would I go about applying a conditional format for, say, weighted net sales greater than 20K and also for weighted net sales less than 20K, like minus 20K? Kind of conceptually, how would, with negative numbers, how would you kind of approach that?
Sure. So let me just pick some random opportunity I've got here. And just find something with some numbers in it. Okay, here we go. So here I've got, I hope I've got data. All right, so here we've got a number, and you want to basically create conditional formatting. So we go into edit. We've already grouped by something, whether it's grouped by stage, grouped by close month, grouped by date. So here we're grouping by close date, and we're grouping by close date by month. Great. And we're going to take the dollar amount, and I'm going to summarize. Great. So now I'm going to do conditional formatting. And I'm going to add a formatting rule, and you can have different things that you're checking, but I'm going to check for the sum. And in this case, the first one is the one where you're doing less than. So I wonder if I can put a negative 20,000. I don't see why I couldn't. Okay, and from 20,000 to 0. Okay, so something like that, right? So 20,000 to negative 20,000 to 20,000. Something like that would do it, I would think. So yeah, it looks like you can do negative numbers. I haven't tried negative numbers, but I wonder if I'm missing something. Let's see what happens. Maybe it'll give me an error. No, I mean from negative 20 to 20,000, and then you can create another rule if you wanted to for another field if you'd like. But yeah, you should be able to do that. Hit apply, and I don't have any negative numbers, but yeah, there you go. And I don't know, did the negatives go away? I'm kind of curious. Negatives are still there. I'm not sure why you can't do negatives. I'm not sure what you're saying.
All right. This may be better to take offline, but I'll give it a go and you can tell me. Rashana wanted to know, can you explain and provide an example kind of conceptually of when parent group val and pre-v group val functions could be used and could be leveraged?
All right, so yes. So what are we talking about? If I'm going to create a report and I'm grouping by month, March, April, May, June, July, September, October, you see that? So I might want to compare the sum of October to the sum of September, to the sum of July, to the sum of May. So you can create summary formulas, okay? And I'll call it, month over month. And so what you can do is you can say, all right, look, I'm going to run this report at pretty much every close date grouping. All right, so I'm going to run this formula on all the groupings. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take the sum of the dollar amount, and I'm going to divide it by, and then there's a formula. There's actually a formula or a function, forgive me, called previous group value. So what this does is the previous grouping. So this grouping is September. Get the number from October, whatever was previous. So you pick your field, and I think I just got the amount field here, so I'm going to use this little tool. So I'm going to pick the amount field, amount, and then what grouping level am I going to pick? And I think I'm grouping by close date. That should do it. All right. So I'm kind of comparing the percentage that this month compared to last month. Hit apply, and that's what we're doing. So it's going to look at, in October, we did 2.72 times what we did in September. And in September, we did 1.25 of what we did in July. And in July, we did 0.86 of what we did in May. So it's comparing this grouping to the previous grouping. That's what previous group function is, okay? The other one, parent group val. So there's previous group val and there's parent group val. Parent group val is comparing it to so you might have a parent-child grouping. So show me how much I'm closing by rep, by product, okay? And so the reason you use parent group val is the rep might have closed $100,000 total, that's the parent grouping, but for this product, it's $10,000. So you can see what percentage of the overall reps close rate, a close amount, is this product. So that's when you would use parent group val. So parent group val would be to compare how much of the overall does this slice deal with. That's really what that's for. And previous group val would be, let me see how I'm doing month over month, quarter over quarter, year over year, backwards, forwards, that kind of thing. That's generally what those two are for.
All right. Another one here from Roshana. How can I prevent users from saving their reports in public reports folders?
You can't. You can't. I know, okay. It drives me crazy too. You can't. You can take away the public. I think there's a setting where you can just take away everything, but it's so draconian, I don't even recommend it. You just are going to have people saving reports in public folders. Agreed. Right. It's kind of annoying and it can get kind of crazy, but you can run reports on reports. So you can run reports on, let me know when reports were last run, or let me know how often they've been run. And I recommend every quarter, if you see a report that hasn't been run in 6 months, delete it, or tell people you're going to delete it. So you can do something like at the end of next quarter, you send out an email to everyone and go, hey, if your report doesn't get run in the next, in the last month from now, it's going to get deleted. And give them a heads up and then just see what happens. And if they don't run the report, delete it. But yeah, that's kind of annoying.
All right.
I personally experienced that annoyance.
Shakita is asking, are there certain columns my colleague can see in her reports, but I can't, and what would be the reason?
Yeah, okay, yes. There's field level security in Salesforce where people can see a field or not. And if you can't see the field because your profile doesn't even let you see the field, it won't even show up for you. So that could be it.
Nice, okay. This one's from Andy. Can you talk a little bit about the difference between Classic and Lightning in terms of reports, especially as it relates to the types of charts you can create? He says, I'm still a little confused as to how the old summary, tabular, matrix types relate to the new Lightning format.
Okay, so before, when you would create a report, you had to pick in the very beginning, am I ever going to group this report or not? And if I'm going to group it, can I only group the rows, or am I going to group by rows and by columns? You'd have to have picked that before you built the report. Now, we just let you pick and choose, add, remove groupings. Basically, you can go from a tabular to a matrix to a summary to a tabular at will. So the types went away because people weren't thinking about it. And they'd build their whole report and then be like, I picked the wrong type, and they'd have to go back and do it over again. So tabular summary groupings, they're gone. They're basically just reports. And if your report has groupings, then it's a summary report. And when you go to add a chart, for example, I go to add a chart, then your options for, can it be a stacked bar chart or not, those are just going to figure it out dynamically based on do you have groupings or not. So in this case, I would say Lightning reports are a little bit simpler because you don't have to define everything in the beginning. You can kind of build it and play with it and test it out and then make the chart. Also, the big difference here is the charts look better. They just look way better. And especially your dashboards. Here's a big difference with dashboards is that you're not limited to just 3 columns, and you can make them whatever sizes you want, and they just generally look nicer. But also moving forward, there are a lot more lightning types. There are a lot more types of charts in Lightning than there were in Classic. And now even with Lightning tables, you can pick and choose which fields you want to have show up in your tables in your dashboard. So in general, they're better. Can I tell you every little specific difference? No, I'm sure there's a help and training link with like the differences, you know, some little feature we haven't moved over yet or not. But in general, that's the big difference. You don't have to pick tabular, summary, or matrix beforehand. It just kind of happens when you do the groupings at will.
Nice. All right. This one's from Jim. Can you do date math in the summary field of reports? For example, close date plus 30 for like a new date. Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I played with this yesterday. Let me just look. So I tried it the other day with a row level formula. Let me just change this to all. All right, so I tried this the other day with a row level formula. Row levels didn't seem to have dates. I don't think summaries are going to be good at dates either. I don't even think they show dates. No, no, can't do it with dates. No.
Right.
If dates are important, just create a regular formula field on that record, right? If you have a close date on an opportunity and you want to know, you know, it's going to start 2 weeks out from now, create a formula on the opportunity for the close date plus 2 weeks out, and then report on that formula field. But don't try to build the formula in the report.
Makes sense. Okay, Marty's asking, is there any way in Lightning to add multiple fields at a time like you can in Classic?
I thought there was in the sidebar here. I think you can. Maybe I'm mistaken. I thought it was like Shift or Command. Let me try. Did they take it away? Could have sworn there was. Doesn't look like it. I'm not able to find it, and I'm using the normal hotkeys I would have used. No, but if anything, you know, you just do a quick search, pick the name, type it in, pick the name. Also, by report type, you can default the fields that show up. So if you're going to do an opportunity report, just default 90% of the columns you want to see there all the time anyways, and just save everybody a lot of hassle. So doesn't look like it, though. I've been trying to do it this whole time. I expected it to be there, but I'm not finding it now.
All right. Chad is asking, is it possible to see the last activity date with a contact or account? I would like to know the date of the last email or call.
So yes and no. No, by default, we kind of mentioned this specific use case a little earlier in the question where reports don't return the last anything. They return everything within a date range, for example. So if you want to do that, create a flow or create an automation rule where when you create activities, the latest activity, that data is copied to the opportunity or copied to the contact as fields. Last activity date, last activity subject, last activity description, and then just report on those fields. So that would work, but the reporting engine itself does not bring the first or the last of anything. So I would do that. The other thing is if you are using, let me see if I have it here. If you're using Einstein Activity Capture, Einstein Activity Capture has built within it fields that are dynamically calculated like last activity date and activities in the last 30 days. And it basically does that for you. It creates fields that it updates automatically for you. So if you're using Einstein Activity Capture, you get these fields you can report on and put in list views. If you're not using Activity Capture, then create an automation rule that when you create an activity, it copies the date to the account or the contact or the opportunity or whatever, and then report on those fields. Very common. All right, 1 minute left, and then I'm going to get booted out of here. Any last minute questions, Krista?
Yeah, Milan's asking, he noticed that when you were creating a report, you looked at the filter on opportunity status, and it showed options like won, closed, closed won, but it didn't show closed lost. It does not appear as an option. Why is that?
Okay, so good question. I'm not sure why it's not an option. It's a hard thing for me to answer. So there's open, there's closed, meaning closed won and closed lost, and then there's closed won. really what I would just do here is, let's say you want to do closed opportunities, okay? You can add a filter, and there's a field called one, and you can say no. So that's what you can do. You can say, show me all the deals that are closed and were not won. It gives you the same thing. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that's not there too. I don't know why it's not there, a product decision, but that's how you get around it. You can still report on closed lost deals. It's just not one of the predefined values.
All right, time for one more?
One more, but one more. Let's do it.
All right, this is from Stacy. She says, am I able to edit the appearance of an existing dashboard?
Yeah, you go to the dashboard, and as long as you have permissions to edit the dashboard, you go to the I'm in the wrong environment. You go to the dashboard, you hit edit, and you can drag and drop, move things around, change the columns. I mean, just because it already exists doesn't mean you can't change it. All right, unfortunately, everybody, I gotta go. People are waiting on this room. If you have more questions, join me in that Trailblazer community group where you can get a hold of me and Crystal directly. Thank you all for coming. Coming up on Thursday, we're going to talk about Opportunity Management 101. And on Tuesday, we're going to hit some office hours where you ask me more reported questions. Thanks for coming, everybody. I hope this was helpful. See y'all later.